Big Boar Barbecue presents Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Dykman, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Riker. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Big Boar Barbecue, now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist, serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hi again, race fans. Seven Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. Into the month of September we go, and that is the month of champions and even destructions and the wind down to Oktoberfest.
Weekend specials.
Big ones coming up here. I'm Radio Man Dan Dykert, Paul the Penguin Reichert, and Billy Doc Niles along with you. Program being brought to you today by the company that's telling you it might be time to change the AC to the heat.
Oh, yes. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. Let's not forget Big Boar Barbecue.
Big Boar, mandatory.
Big Boar Barbecue, voted #1 in the county once again. Best food, best caterer. If you want to find out why, get up there and check out that chicken. All that stuff is delicious. Like Dan mentioned, Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. Temperatures are starting to come down just a touch. Get that furnace checked out before it gets cold.
And change your filters.
Yes, change your filters. That is thanks for reminding me. I got to do that when I get home.
I know I got to do it this weekend.
Fansarena.com. Got the duds on right here. Paul still can't find his red shirt. J&L Collectibles and NorthstarCustoms.com, all advertising partners making the show happen in 2020.
Coming off of a very exciting weekend at, let's see, Friday night, went to MTS, got some dirt action. Saturday night, we went to the Dells as a regular spectator, which was, or Marshfield.
Yes.
I'm thinking 2 weeks ago.
You did Dells 2 weeks ago.
Wow, Leo's is really hitting me hard now. Went up and announced at Marshfield for the Vintage Series and the Mid-American Mid-Dash Series. Yes. Great time up there with the Tundra. And then, of course, to HobbyFest at Tomah Sparta Speedway. 37 entries, 30 laps. Man, that was a fantastic race. It was so good. We're going to show you that as part of segment 3 in the show today, because I tell you what, the stars from the state of Wisconsin came out.
Oh, definitely. It's worth the price of it. I just watched it. I wasn't there, but I just watched the video now on my phone before we came on the air. What a great race. For those of you watching the show on Thursday night, special edition of Knights of Thunder, going to show that race
right after this program.
Yep, right after the show. So check that out, coming from Tomah Sparta Speedway. Some great racing action to watch. We're going to tell you about some of it right now, Dan.
Hornet Driver Joey Johnson is going to be in the program today, running third in points at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. Let's recap the Tomah Sparta Speedway, as La Crosse has been off the past couple of weeks. Been long enough. I'm going to have a hard time finding my way back up the stairs. Where
it was an off season? It's been so long.
Wow. I've got a lot of enduro action to show you next weekend. Let's roll the tape. The last two right here. Well, the last two is Andy Moore versus Dave Trute. It was like this for about 8 or 9 laps as the inaugural HobbyFest took place at the Tomah Sparta Speedway. And Andy Moore, well, did what he always does, outside, rolling through the field. He gets past Jim Tate Jr., who a lot of people had picked to win this race. Christian Jansen rolled past him, rolled past Colton Goralski, rolled past Jamie Robinson, who unfortunately was leading this race for quite a while. During a caution, oil spitting out of his dipstick knocked him out, and I gave him the $100 hard charger award. It was Trute versus Moore versus Trute, because they kept switching lanes in the restarts. In the end, Andy Moore takes home almost $1,000 in prize money and contingencies. This is a hobby stock feature.
Yeah,
really,
just a hobby stock feature, but you're talking of 37 of the best in the Midwest, and not just from like Tomah or a couple from La Crosse or a couple from the Dells. You're looking at guys from all over the place. They came from Elko, Jefferson, Rockford. I think
State Park Speedway.
State Park Speedway. Yeah. You had guys from all over the Midwest, and what a phenomenal field. 37 of the best hobby stocks. Whittled it down to, what was that starting field? 22. Tough to do, man. Tough crowd. And Andy Moore, I guess right now, and I hear there's a possibility of a rematch coming at Rockford. But right now, you got to call Andy Moore the best in the business when it comes to hobby stock racing.
Yeah, it was just simply fantastic having all those hobby stocks at Tomah. There is word that this may be happening again next year at Tomah and this year at the National Short Track Championships at the Rockford Speedway. We want to thank all the drivers that came out and for all of our class classes, a huge crowd. The place was just completely packed, almost ran out of food, and Greg Oliver does not do that.
No. And you didn't get any?
Oh, I got quite a bit.
That's why they ran out of food.
I made sure I had the lion's share. Just a fantastic time. If you didn't get a chance to see it, and you don't get a chance to watch it on KQEG TV, go to the Tomah Sparta Speedway Facebook page. The entire features are loaded up on there. Big points battle also on Sunday because we rained out Friday. Modifieds.
Yes, Brad Wiles dove under Darren Salo to take the lead on lap 5. Nick Quinnell went right under Salo as well, lap later, but Wiles was pulling away. But then Salo got another wind and started making things interesting for Quinnell. Those two kept battling over and over, battling each other for second. Wiles pulls away to claim the victory, his 5th of the year. And he gently rang the victory bell this time.
Yeah, well, that's because it was only this far off the ground because somebody, Kyle Reedner in the Hornet race, which we're going to talk about, smashed the entire victory bell and post out of the ground.
You know, you got to give a shout out to Salo at the beginning of that race. I think it was like the second lap.
Well, first off,
dead sideways coming off a 4.
First off, he came on the racetrack, his window net was down. So they had to slow him down there. Then they forgot to turn the fuel switch on.
Oh,
so that was strike 2. Then he comes out and has problems in the race, and finally everything just clicked, and he just came back to life.
Yeah, that car was wicked loose, and it took a while for it to get underneath him. That's how Wiles was able to get underneath him so quickly. So, congratulations to Salo on a heck of a save, man.
Another big sportsman feature is Bill Schaub was already named the champion and the Rookie of the Year, and Billy Doc Niles, Jason Backus, and Tyler Sauter. What a show.
Backus would make quick work of the field. He'd get to the lead by the 4th lap and just leave the rest of the field in his waist. Tyler Sauter was making his way through the field. He gets into second by the halfway point, but by then Backus is gone. Nothing Sauter can do with him. Backus will gently ring that bell.
In the Hornets, he's only been there twice this year, and he pretty much stepped away from the field. Let's show the last couple in this one. It's Tom Lethe taking charge. He wasted no time to get to the race lead. A mid-race restart with Kyle Reedner. He bumps, actually almost went sideways off a slam of Sammy Linehan, corrects it, then bounces off the wall, corrects that, and then ends up between the fence and a billboard in Victory Lane, knocked himself unconscious, tore out the post, tore out the victory bell. It was an incredible crash. Kyle Reedner is okay, by the way. After Jordan Finch got loose, here comes Cheatin' Chandler Turner. He makes his way to the top spot, but in the end, nobody was going to catch Tom Lethe in the number 50 machine.
I know I've asked this before. Did he name himself Cheatin' Chandler?
He did. I got a lot of people who are like, dude, why do you call him? I'm like, no, that's one of the only nicknames in 15 years out here I have not called somebody. He called himself Cheatin' Chandler Turner. 6 shooters, man, Justin DeLapp was that close.
Yes, he looked good at the start of the race. He got the lead a couple laps into the feature, but soon here comes Dan Fry and not Matt Moore this time.
Bobby Frisch.
Guest driving
the guy that letters everyone's cars in the Midwest.
What is he doing in the 90 machine?
We didn't know about it until Sunday morning, so it was still a surprise to us. Yep. Man, I was like, wait.
You didn't answer my question. What's he doing?
We don't know. We still don't know.
Yep. Fry and Frisch were trying to force the lap to make a mistake, but he held them off for a while. But then 3 laps to go, here comes Frisch to get around both Fry and the lap to claim the victory. His first ever win at Tomah, his first fast time in 7 years. And this guy has raced at 20, besides lettering, has raced 22 different tracks over 5 states. So he really gets around.
This guy has just got it done. Now, the bigger question that was not answered for me by Matt Moore, what about the Fireball? Because that would be 13 wins between Dan Fry and Matt Moore or his car. And that means there will be another Fireball show.
Hey, Fireball Lanes is on the car. Fireball Lanes is in Victory Lane. Fireball should be flowing at Fireball Lanes.
I'm agreeing to write that. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk Hornet driving with Joey Johnson from the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. That's next on KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
La Crosse has spoken. Hi, Jerry here, and once again you voted us the best barbecue and caterer. This year you added ribs. I'm truly humbled by this honor. If you haven't tried our barbecue, I invite you to stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Find out why La Crosse County consistently votes us #1. Ribs, pulled pork, brisket, and chicken, and so much more. We also cater groups large and small. Big Bore Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back, race fans. Severo's Racing KQEG TV. We kicked the Penguin out of the pooch. It's just the doc and the voice as we bring in the driver. Boy, I tell you what, he is so centered right now, right over the top of that big bore Barbie. Look at that. What a picture this is.
Engine and that pig right over his head.
And he was like, that's like the motor sitting right on top of his head. That was a cool shot right there. Joey Johnson joining us on the program, runs the number 32 Hornet at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. Good to have you, man.
Nice to be here.
Very surprised when media day and the week after, Paul and I are sitting up in the tower and Bill's down in the pits, and we're thinking, man, is Todd Korish running a Hornet this year? You got his number.
Todd Korish tribute car.
And, from the Vintage Series Chevelle. It's the same color, the same style of numbers, the same blaze reddish orange on there. And he's like, that's Joey Johnson. I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, it's been a while.
What was how long has it been since you've raced, man? Because I've known you for quite a many years.
It's probably been around 11 or 12 years, something like that.
What was the decision to go, hey, not only am I going to run a Hornet this year, I'm going to run a fancy-looking Hornet?
Well, it's not as fancy as I think it is, but I bought a street car, and you know, it was kind of nickel and diming me a little bit. And my buddy Andy Barney, he was telling me.
Oh no, you know already when Andy's name's thrown in there.
We only have 8 minutes for this story.
Andy and his daughters will be on next week too, though. By the way. So, anyways.
Well, and he kept on just poking me. You know, he's like, what? When are you gonna strip that car? When are you gonna strip that car? And finally, another part went wrong with the car, and my wife says, well, are you gonna let that car nickel and dime you, or what are you gonna do? I said, well, maybe I'll just race it. And she just kind of gave me the shrug, and I was like, all right, I'm racing.
That's almost permission right there.
Now that could be a two-sided shrug. Was it oh well, or okay, go for it?
I just went for okay, go for it.
Okay, smart man.
12 years since you've been on the track. Things have changed just a touch in 12 years.
Ugh. The cars are faster. Getting to run the Bassets and stuff now, the handling is amazing compared to what we had to use stock rims before, and now we can run Bassets. I mean, yeah, when you get close to cars, you know, you kind of peel some rims, and you know, but other than that, I mean, I like running more. Now we can run racing seats and everything too, so everything's just a lot nicer.
So, what did it feel like the first night back after 12 years? I mean, you got in their seat. Were you nervous?
I was a little nervous. I was actually, believe it or not, I was actually more nervous taking the car out for the first practice when we had to do separate practices. The first practice, but once I got the car out there, and like the first couple laps, I was just like, oh, I missed it. I missed it.
Hearing that.
Dan, I think you'll agree with me. He is without a doubt one of the most improved drivers in the class this year, from the beginning to the end of the year.
Well, I mean, number one, I knew how long it was that it had been before that he had stepped away before coming on the show today. And then number two, knowing he was working with Andy, and if you'd seen what Andy's done to his daughter's cars, I mean, those are some fast Hondas out there. But it's a wheel man, and to watch the progress he's had through the year, and all of a sudden third in points, that's got to be your biggest shock of the year. I mean, you're 39 points out with Oktoberfest to go.
Yeah.
That's an incredible season with 40 Hornets out there.
Yeah, I actually wasn't even really paying attention to the points. And then one night, I can't remember who it was, Jimmy Bjorkman or someone says, oh, you're up to 7th, Joe. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and then when we got close, after I won a couple heats and stuff like that, and then Jimmy looked again, and he's like, you're in 3rd. I'm like,
wow.
I mean, honestly, I just want to have fun. I just like racing. And, you know, making friends in the pits, you know, seeing everybody, you know,
right.
That I like that. You know, if if I win, I win, I guess. If I don't, I'll be back next year.
Yeah, it's more fun saying, man, that was fun than you dirty son of a.
Yeah. And if you and you talk about the speed of these cars now, I mean, I've been out there 14 years, so I've seen the progression myself. When you look at Jimmy Bjorkman and Cheyenne Stanfield and Jordan Young in her backup car and Michael Wachs has gone out there and won twice. And when the Leafys come out there, I mean, you know, it used to be the turbos, it used to be all those are gone, all the drivers are gone, and now it's just pretty much straight motor and how you can drive a car. 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. I mean, you've been running with the thick of the fastest Hornets all year.
It's not easy. With Michael Wachs, actually, I ran next to him a bunch of times, and you know, we made our way through the field, gave each other room. I did bump and bang with him a little bit, but you know, he knew it was just racing, so we were all good.
Now, did that help you, though, getting back into a Hornet car, obviously a quicker car than you had 12 years ago? That not only could you run with these guys, but did it help you get back into the fast racing mode running against a guy like Michael Wachs?
Yeah, I mean, in practice and stuff like that, and in qualifying, it's different. But once you get racing, you can kind of see how much you can push your car.
Right.
Once you see the way they are, you know, how much more they're coming in and just going with them, you just get more and more feel, and it makes it a lot easier.
And we've compared you back in the early years of running a late model, doing the same thing. Obviously, all of a sudden you're running next to maybe Steve Carlson or Kevin Noodleman or someone of that caliber, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to try to see if I can stay with these guys. And it helps your racing.
I got to admit, the first night I beat Steve Carlson in a feature, there were a couple of adult beverages flowing that night. So it only happened like 2 or 3 times in my whole career, but it was worth it.
Joey's running 3rd in points. Oktoberfest is the championship. He has 1 more to run. Are you having enough fun to come back next year?
Oh yeah, I got I got some parts cars sitting in the weeds, so I kind of just can't buy them and then just let them sit there. So
okay,
I mean, why not?
We only got about a minute left. Talk about some of the sponsors helping you out this year.
This year I have on the hood I have Auto Authority, Fat Cats, Bait Shop, Hilltop Horrific and Recycling, D&D Premier Builders, my wife actually, Black Diamond Photography.
Nice.
And then with all the sponsors help, but without Andy helping me, Andy Barney, that I would have never got back out there. I mean, I was just...
Jonathan Eichelberg will be proud of you. You didn't need a list.
No hand,
no list, no cell phone.
Oh, Epic.
Epic. Drew, I was going to say Drew Krybeck did that vinyl, and man, does that look nice, because it made a splash the very first night out. I know that you're probably going to be the running for one of the best appearing cars for the Hornet division this year. And man, what a way to come back out after 12 years. And looking at what happens in 1st and 2nd place with the Hornets this year, there's no wiggle room for Joey Johnson, so he's going to be 3rd this year. And man, that's just outstanding.
Yeah, I was really surprised after a couple blown motors and some bad nights, but keep with it.
Consistency.
He did it. You'll hear him on the radio show coming up this week as well. Joey Johnson, the number 32 Hornet, 3rd in points after a 12-year hiatus. Greatly appreciate him coming on the show. When we come back, it's going to be the inaugural HobbyFest from the Tomah Sparta Speedway. That's next on KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
Well, you've done it again. Hi, Jerry here. You voted us the #1 barbecue and caterer for the 5th year in a row. This year you added ribs. Now, if you haven't tried our barbecue, let me personally invite you to try the best ribs, pulled pork, brisket, chicken, and so much more. Visit us on Highway 16 West Salem. Dine in or outside at one of our picnic tables. Drive-through and carry-out is always available. Big Boar Barbecue, a delicious mouthful.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. built to a higher standard.
Welcome back, race fans. Severus Racing, KQEG TV, Bill and Paul and myself, Dan. Such an incredible showing at the inaugural HobbyFest at Tomah Sparta Speedway. Even Greg Oliver said he could have never imagined things going that big. How about we replay some of that?
I think we should, because this was an incredible race, especially at the end with Andy Moore and Dave Trout. So here's what the last half of that race looked like last Sunday.
$13 down, 17 to go. This is where it's going to start to get interesting. 3 wide, heading into turn 3. It's a Robinson sandwich bumping on and over the off racing course. So here's where it's going to start to get good, as Jason Bolster's going to be the first one to go a lap down. Andy Moore's on the move. Moore will take Jansen door to door for third. Gorowski's right in front, the race being led by Robinson. Ben Gannon having problems in the 41, slowly crawling off of turn 4 as the leaders come around. Gannon's trying to get out of harm's way, he does. And Gannon's going to have to pull it off into the pit stall. $14 to go. It's Robinson, Gorowski, and Moore. Andy Moore on the prowl again, looks to the inside of Gorowski. Andy Moore's going to make it work on the inside rail. He'll take the number 2 spot. Jim Robinson, the only one remaining. Moore was one of the automatic contenders. Oh, Reedner's got to pull off. He was a contender. The day's done for the 4D. We've got hobby stocks in all 4 corners of the Tomah Sparta Speedway. Here comes Andy Moore. He'll get past Robinson for the race lead. Into lap traffic, he goes right behind Lefebvre. Robinson stays on the inside. A little bit of a collision between Moore and Robinson. Gorowski trying to hold off Jansen for 3rd and 4th. Robinson, the 18's off the racetrack. Jeff Lefebvre, former track champion, was off the racetrack momentarily, bringing it back on. Looks like Robinson may have cut a tire down on the 18 machine. 9 to go. Andy Moore checking away from this one up into turn 3. Robinson back to second, then it's Gorowski. Jansen and Dave Trout. Trout now in the top 5. There's a lot of money and contingencies to give away for flat tires, last place, first place, laps led, different laps themselves. Trying to make sure nobody goes home a loser. Jimmy Robinson in the 33, trying to hold court for that number 2 position. Fighting for a podium position. Oh, the caution is going to fly. Caution is out for the 22 of Chuck Egley. Spinning wildly in turns 1 and 2, and that's going to set the stage for a 7-lap shootout. Andy Moore, your race leader, fighting to stay in the number 2 spot was Jim Robinson. Colton Gorowski was battling Christian Jansen for 3rd and 4th. Dave Trout was trying to hold on to a top 5 of the caution flew. One more lap has been put on the scoreboard. We've got a hefty 8 laps remaining for the big money and contingencies.
This is going to be an 8-lap shootout, big time.
On a turn 4, let's finish this one. We're green. 2 big wheelmen in the state of Wisconsin, Andy Moore and Dave Trout, are going to do battle here now. The young Colton Gorowski is in the 56 machine. Reedner in the 26 trying to follow in line. Andy Moore leads him off a turn 4 down the front straightaway. Dave Trout still in hot pursuit. Ooh, he looked to go to the inside. Moore shut that door awfully quickly. Goralski all by himself in third. Jansen in fourth. Now Krieger and Reed are going to battle it out for fifth and sixth. The hand shows 5. Andy Moore puts his foot into it. In the corners is when Trout starts to reel him in just a tad bit. More than pulls away. 4 to go. Oh, here we go. Reading around it turns 1 and 2. A bunch of smoke goes up. And out comes the caution as Lodi, Wisconsin's Kyle Reedner slips sliding away in turns 1 and 2. And you know that guy right there is awfully upset. And here it is, the figures high, 1 to go. Let's line them up nice and tight, nose to tail, front to back, like a big old can of sardines minus the smell. Krieger has made up 5 positions over the past 2 restarts. That's a strong 34. How about young Colton Goralski? One of the top 3 all afternoon of the 56 machine.
Hanging right
up front, it's Moore versus Trout. Here we go. 5 remain. We're back to green. Dave Trout knows he's got to keep that rusty 2 machine right next to the 19. As Moore again will jump to the top spot. 4 laps remain. Trout as he pedals it away from turn 4. All he sees is the back end of Sparta's Andy Moore, number 19 machine. Again, he cannot make it happen to the inside. Colton Goralski trying to hold on to a top 3. Krieger's going to push him into turn 4. 2 laps remain in our HobbyFest inaugural feature. Time to get her out of the way right now. Off of turn 4. White flag is out. 4 left turns in the front straight remain for Andy Moore. A hometown favorite. Trout's going to try to make it happen again. Bumper to bumper, they roll over turn 2 down the back straightaway. Into 3. Off of 4. Checkered flag is out for Andy Moore. The first ever feature winner of the inaugural HobbyFest. Dave Trout second. Colton Goralski third.
If you want to see that race in its entirety in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be showing last Sunday's races right here on KQEG TV. It's a special Thursday night, Knights of Thunder, featuring Tomah Sparta Speedway.
And that's, again, only if you're watching this and only on Thursday night, because Sunday, when this program airs, it's going to be the Enduro from the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, Minivan Championship, and the High School Racing Association Championship. For Bill and Paul and Joey Johnson, our Hornet Driver from La Crosse, I want to thank you for watching us. A lot of big shows coming up here, a lot of activity. Night of Destruction. That's going to be almost the entire show next week, right here on KQEG TV.
You've been watching 7 Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Dyker, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Riker. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Big Boar Barbecue. Now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist. Serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. Thanks for watching 7 Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
La Crosse has spoken. Hi, Jerry here, and once again you voted us the best barbecue and caterer. This year you added ribs. I'm truly humbled by this honor. If you haven't tried our barbecue, I invite you to stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Find out why La Crosse County consistently votes us number 1. Ribs, pulled pork, brisket, and chicken, and so much more. We also cater groups large and small. Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem.